This isn't a channel that asks you to blindly believe. It's a channel that asks you to think. We'll explore spirituality, religion, the occult, psychology, mythology, symbolism, consciousness, and everything in between. We'll question traditions, challenge contradictions, and examine ideas that are often considered too controversial, too mystical, or too taboo to talk about. My goal isn't to tell you what to believe. My goal is to help you ask better questions. Whether you spent years on a spiritual journey or you're just beginning to wonder, is there more beneath the surface? This is a place for curiosity over certainty, discussion over dogma, and understanding over fear. If you're ready to explore the uncomfortable, the mysterious, and the misunderstood, well, welcome to the conversation, honey. I call myself Transcendental Anomaly because I don't fit neatly inside any one system of belief. Disclaimer, this channel is for educational and entertainment purposes only. I am not a licensed professional in any field, including mental health, medicine, or theology. Everything shared here reflects personal perspective, interpretations, and open discussion, not professional advice or absolute truth. I encourage viewers to think critically, do their own research, and take what resonates while leaving what does not. Today, we're talking about something I think many people experience, but don't have the language for: the spiritual journey. The biggest misconception I see in some spaces is that awakening is supposed to feel beautiful, peaceful, and magical all the time, when in reality, many people experience confusion, isolation, grief, depression, and complete ego deaths before finding any sense of peace. So, what are the phases of a spiritual journey? Let's talk about them. Phase 1, the call to question. This is usually where it begins. You may start questioning religion, society, your relationships, your purpose, the way you always thought about life. And so here are some questions you can ask yourself. Remember, I'm here to help. I'm supposed to be aiding you in your spiritual journey, not telling you what to do. But ask yourself this: what beliefs do I simply hold because I inherited them? If I had been born somewhere else, would I believe the same things I believe today? Have I ever truly questioned my worldview? Phase 2, the dark night of the soul. This phase can feel devastating, and I will create a separate video going into detail about this. But you may experience loneliness, depression, anxiety, grief, feeling disconnected from who you once were, losing interest in things that once mattered. And here are some questions to ask yourself going through this phase. Who am I without my labels? What if my suffering isn't punishment but transportation? What parts of myself am I afraid to let go of? Phase 3, spiritual obsession. This phase isn't talked about enough, and some people become consumed by spirituality during this phase. They begin watching spiritual content 24/7 like me. I remember going through this phase. Becoming hyper-focused on signs and synchronicities. Trying to ascend. Feeling spiritually superior to others. And I've experienced this as well as this behavior from other spiritual folk. Making spirituality their entire identity. It's a whole thing that no one talks about for real, but I'm going to talk about it. And here are some questions to ask yourself. Am I growing spiritually, or am I becoming attached to being perceived as spiritual? Have I become so open-minded that I've stopped being discerning? Do I need spirituality to validate my worth? Interesting things. Phase 4, isolation. During this phase, many people lose relationships. You may feel misunderstood, different from friends and family. You may feel called to spend more time alone. And you may get frustrated that others don't get it. Like, you feel this way. I'm going to help you unpack this. So here are some questions to ask yourself. Am I isolating because I'm growing, or because I developed a us versus them mentality? Can you respect other people's journey without feeling superior or misunderstood? Phase 5, integration, which is my favorite. This is one of the most beautiful phases. You begin to realize you don't need all the answers. You don't need to convince everyone else. Spirituality isn't a competition, and it may take some time to reach this phase, but growth isn't linear. Like, you become more grounded. You begin integrating spirituality, psychology, practical wisdom, and your individuality, which is amazing. It feels so free when you get to this phase. And there are some questions you may ask yourself here. Have I become more compassionate since beginning my spiritual journey? Am I more peaceful than I was before? What has spirituality actually taught me about being human? Because remember, you are human. Phase 6, discernment. Or you start using your discernment in a way that's not paranoia, if that makes sense. In my opinion, this is where true spiritual maturity begins. You realize not every synchronicity is a sign. Not every spiritual teacher is enlightened. Not every feeling is intuition. Not every belief is truth. You become comfortable saying, I don't know, and that's okay. And remember that uncertainty does not mean you're unintelligent. And here are some questions you may ask yourself. Can I sit comfortably in uncertainty? Have I confused confidence with wisdom? Do I have the courage to question my own beliefs? Ultimately, the spiritual journey isn't about anything else but becoming more honest with yourself. It's about understanding who you are beyond the labels, beliefs, and identities you've accumulated throughout your life. Your spiritual journey doesn't have to look like anyone else's. There's no timeline. There is no final destination that makes you better than the next person. Perhaps enlightenment isn't becoming less human. Perhaps it's finally becoming comfortable with being one. I want to leave you with this question. If you stripped away your religion, your spirituality, your astrology chart, and your personality test, and every label you've ever used to describe yourself, who would you be? Who are you outside of spirituality? Always receive every message with discernment. Question it, explore it, research it, sit with it. Thank you for spending time with me today. If this conversation challenged your perspective and gave you something to think about, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode with someone who's ready to question the narrative. New episodes every Saturday, where we'll continue the conversations most people are afraid to have. Until next time, stay anomalous and never stop seeking understanding.